Hello again. For those of you who don't know, my name's Elliot and I signed up to an online property training course so you don't have to. Okay, so second video today. Starting to get into the course. Today we'll talk about the first 10 videos. Videos not 1 to 9, kind of in an introductory tone, and then video 10 I thought was quite special. I really enjoyed that one. Very motivational. But first, I sent a WhatsApp message last episode to the group because they allow you into a community, WhatsApp community, and I sort of did an introduction to myself, my situation, and asked for a little bit of a hand deciding the location and the strategy to deal source in. Didn't get much specific feedback for that from anyone. I sent it on a Saturday evening, Sunday, when the group maybe is a little bit quieter, but I suppose the reason I probably didn't get such a direct reply is this. I'll just show a screenshot now, maybe here, wherever, of how busy it is. It's Monday now, and it's all kicked off, and what we got, 135 messages, etc, etc. You have to really keep on top of it, you know, if you want to be noticed here. You know, really, you've got to be sending lots of messages each day, and perhaps that's not realistic. What I'm going to do is, when I send a message, if I get anyone directly replying, I will carry on that conversation as a direct message, and that way I can get to know people not just as a random person on the group chat, but then I can build a bit of a relationship with that person, and save them as a contact, because otherwise it's going to be every man for himself on this chat. Okay, so then I started watching the training videos. There's 165 in total, and my plan is to keep you guys updated at roughly every 10. Again, today it's sort of still just getting into the course. As we go along, though, the videos I'll be making will not just be telling you some videos I watched, because that's going to get very dry. I'm going to start implementing the training, and then you'll be able to see me actually starting to give this a go. So the first video is 1 to 9. First video, essentially, they just reinforcing it. It's a good decision to get into property. You know, 90% of millionaires make money through property. It was an Andrew Carnegie quote, apparently. Can't remember who that is, but obviously someone important. I have heard of him. Again, they said how many times, you know, different businesses they tried to make money, and this is the one for them. Then the second video is a bit of a disclaimer. Again, appreciate the boys' honesty. Yeah, this is not easy. You're going to have to be aware of interest rates, various things like that. You're going to have to go at it. I'm going to watch, you know, all the videos to complete the training. Only 6% of people do, apparently. And I aim, hopefully through these YouTube videos as well, with some accountability there, to make sure I complete it and go all the way through and give it a try. They reference a Nelson Mandela quote: "I never lose, I either win or learn." So that's very nice. Video 3. Video 3 just talks about structure a little bit, so there'll be tests along the way. So let's see how I do on the tests. Then video 5, they explained about deal sourcing. What is it? So you're looking at, essentially, what I'm going to be getting involved with is, if you don't know, is finding a property deal, okay, and then passing that on to an investor who's time poor but money rich. That's the idea. And they went on the next few videos to explain how it works. And the main benefit kind of being here, which eventually, video 9, the end-to-end process, where if I was a deal sourcer on my own, so they say, I would have to do the whole process they limit it down to just finding a deal, completing the due diligence, which I'm not exactly sure yet what that means, let me be honest. Not done this before. And then, so that's 1, 2, and then negotiating and securing the deal. Okay, I did a little sales job in the past, knocking on doors, so maybe I've got a bit of negotiation there, but I know it's not easy. And that was 3 points, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more that they said if I was just going out at it alone, I'd have to do on top of that. So that's where the £60 a month, the £500 course fee really comes in. That's the value of it. And if it is just 3 steps: finding the deal, complete due diligence, negotiate and secure the deal, how hard can it be? Okay, now that was a really quick whistle-stop tour of those first 1 to 9 videos. If you haven't watched my first video, I said that I am not going to go into the training in a great deal of detail. That wouldn't be right. I've paid £500 for it, okay, and I can't release everything for free. They'd probably kick me out of the course, and I'd have to do it all by myself. But I do want to give enough value to you guys watching who haven't paid that money, who are a bit unsure of an online course, enough information to kind of get the gist of what they're doing. So the first 1 to 9 videos, I'll say it again, is they talk about property, they talk about deal sourcing, and they sell property, they sell deal sourcing. They do it in an honest way because they talk about, again, the compliance, and they talk about some of the risks. And then they sell their program, which is to reduce the amount of work done because we're sharing that fee 50-50. If I find the deal and negotiate it and package it up, they can then market it and promote it to their investors, etc., etc. Sounds good. And then I got to episode 10, I want to say, whatever you want to call it, video 10 of the training, and it was Stephen, and he was talking about mindset. And I guess they slot this in here because they want to make sure that you are the right person. Again, they touched earlier that, well, if you're not going to bother to complete the training, if you think it's too hard, stop there. And this really went into a lot more detail about the mindset you want to have. And I am going to go into more detail about this video because I thought it was fantastic. So much so that straight after I watched it, these were my thoughts. Yeah, just watched the video 10 about mindset, and thought it was fantastic. I'm sure you've heard this stuff before. No one's coming to save you. It's your responsibility to set goals, to work hard to achieve them, to be disciplined every day, all this stuff. But it's just nice to know, even though, yes, I'm on board with that, I've heard it all before, it's nice to know that the guys providing this training have the same mindset. And in fact, I'd be lying if I said my mindset is that good at this point. Sometimes you can let it slip. You can think, I've done well today, even if there's 1 or 2 things that you wanted to do and it's not quite happened. So I think that's somewhere I can improve, but they're not going to be spoon feeding anything, and my responsibility to put my best effort in. Okay, and going into a bit more detail, a couple of key takeaways specifically I had from that video. It's, what is your why? If I'm honest, when I was asking these people about their courses and looking at various different options, I'd just say to them, I want to make, I'll try and keep it realistic, I want to make an extra £1,000-2,000 a month would be nice. That is not, to Stephen's point, a big enough why, right? Do I just want to make an extra £1,000-2,000 a month for the rest of my life? Is that the why? Is that the full ambition? Well, it's not really. And I guess when you talk about this, and maybe it's a certain Britishness, you feel a little bit embarrassed to say your full ambition, but I'll say it now. it's not £1,000, £2,000 a month. It's to have the income that a very high level 9 to 5 job would get you, and to have that secured. Deal sourcing, well, actually, we talked about it a little bit. Deal sourcing is kind of your quick money, they said. Okay, so you have to work for that money, and then you get a commission, and then sort of investing in property long term or buy to let, something that's going to last a lot longer, is slow money, which is solid and foundational. And that, ultimately, that's what I want, to have that basic level of salary covered, and then to do things on top. I might want to create, a different kind of business, honestly. Property's great. Is it innovative? Is it super creative? I also have passion for those kind of things, solving problems. So how about having a property business and then being able to go do things on top? I didn't tell that to people, and it's a bit embarrassing to say it, that you want that kind of 50, £60,000 passive. Now, initially it's not going to be passive. This is not going to be passive. This is going to be, like I said, trying to squeeze it in around 44 hours that I'm currently doing. But that is the why. Why? I just don't just want an extra couple of £1,000s a month. I want to have that kind of generational wealth in a way. I think if I work really, really hard at a normal 9 to 5 salaried job, maybe I work a Saturday as well, I try and get promoted up a company. I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'll probably get maybe an 80k job if I work really hard by the time I'm 50 years old, or maybe inflation has gone up a little bit by then. Doesn't sound that interesting to me, okay, because you're still having to, sacrifice your time for money, rather than I want to be the one in the driving seat. I'm sure a lot of people think that. I want to be able to have that control over how I spend my time, working on things that I fully believe in, not being an employee working for somebody else's dream. I am an employee at the moment. I'm happy to do so to build my skills, but it's not the dream. It's not the dream. The dream is to have those basic requirements covered through property, and then keep growing from there. So there was that was covered from the video. Where do you want to be in 1, 5, 10 years time? All this stuff. It wasn't revolutionary stuff, but the way Stephen put it across was, you've got to think in this way. You've got to be obsessed. If that's what you want, if that's your why, second stage, well, you've got to be obsessed with getting there. He kept this funny analogy of, well, if you needed air, you didn't have it, you wouldn't just be like, oh, it's really difficult work. I think I might just not do air today. No, you'd be obsessed with it. You'd have to achieve that goal. You'd have to, whatever it is, put on an oxygen mask. Treat your business and your ambition of getting money and achieving your goals in the same essential way. It has to happen. You have to do it. You have to finish a day having made a step towards where you want to be. So here I am at whatever it is, 11 o'clock at night, and I'm taking another little baby step, and that's okay for me. I mean, some people will want to make a source of deal every single day. I'm happy with making another step. Okay, hopefully that's what this channel will do. And if I don't, Stephen's point was, you should feel shame. And I'm aware that maybe it's not a mentally healthy state, but I notice that desire and that passion in myself anyway. If I've not achieved goals that I want to achieve in a day, it's annoying. So don't know if it's like that for yourself. Obviously let me know. But that is what I took from that mindset video. It's having a why, and then having goals towards that why, and just making sure you are disciplined to get there. Okay, so what next? As we speak, I've actually dived into the next few videos, the next few training videos. They're short and snappy. I say I've watched 1 to 10. Don't think this is unachievable for you. I mean, the longest video was like 10 minutes, and most of them about 2 minutes. If you go on this if you sign up for this course, so far my impression is it's not going to be taking a whole day to just do a little bit. It is definitely achievable, and like I said earlier, if you have that goal, it is definitely these actionable steps. Next video I'll be doing is tomorrow. They have the Zoom call at 7 p.m. So finish work at 6, come home for 7. I'll make sure to be on that Zoom call, and also let you know how the next 10 videos go. Very shortly, I'm sure I'll be looking at making a company, looking at starting to call agents. In fact, I'll make sure to call at least one in my lunch break tomorrow. There you go, that's a commitment. Don't even know what I'm going to be saying to them yet, but I'll just say hello. Alright, so yeah, that was episode 2 of taking an online course so that you don't have to. You can see how I do, very normal person, and see if it's something for you. Which, yeah, honestly, the testimonials that people provide and that the course providers show you, they don't go into this detail. They'll tell you about the result. So my plan is to go into this detail so that you can make an informed decision. Okay, I'm waffling. Goodbye.